Okay. Welcome to Cinekuest video. On this episode, we are starting our new series, our series on time travel. And there are many time travel movies that we're not going to talk about. For instance, like Flight of the Navigator, Back to the Future. It's Philadelphia Experiment time travel movie.
Is that the Time Machine, that one remake or whatever?
I don't know. I thought that was like a time thing. I don't know.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie, so
probably.
Can't say.
Are there any other time travel movies that I haven't mentioned that we're not going to talk about?
Timecop 2?
Timecop 2, yeah.
No Doctor Who.
No
movie.
TV shows or movie for that.
Or
that
TV
matter.
show movies, you mean?
Or TV show movies, yes.
Right.
Doctor Who, probably the one that's focused primarily on time travel, I would imagine.
Yeah.
The Time Doctor.
Yeah, you got it.
Anyways. On this episode, we're going to be...
Lord, by the way.
Time Lord, yes. I'm sorry. I forgot that. I forgot that. Thank
okay.
you.
I
knew I said it. I knew I said it incorrectly,
It would
but...
have been funnier to get a comment of somebody shitting on it.
No.
I'm not going to let that slide.
You can't just let that slide. No, that's good. Thank you. I haven't seen Doctor Who in a long time, so the name...
That's all right.
Time Lord, pardon me. We're going to be talking about the movie Timecop. This is, I think, Jean-Claude Van Damme's only... No, this is not his first sci-fi movie. This is his first sci-fi movie, not his last.
Was it? When did Timecop came out in 94? When did Cyborg drop? Wasn't that in the 89?
Is that really a sci-fi movie? That's just kind of like a... It's like a dystopian movie. Is that technically
cyborgs in it? I mean, I don't know.
Well, if you follow Donna Haraway, the sociologist, though, we're already cyborgs because we rely on technology.
Yeah.
That makes us humans, according to her.
I mean, you don't have your chip?
No, I got that for the COVID vaccine.
That's right.
Yeah, Bill Gates now knows where I am. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Knows I'm safe.
Yeah. I got that 5G going, too. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, my fucking Wi-Fi is going to be sweet.
Nah, I bet you're still going to get no signal.
So, like I said, our new series, we're starting off with the movie Timecop, which was in 1994. But before we continue, make sure that those who are only listening, they don't have the pleasure of seeing our faces and probably already know who we are because we have so many listeners. About 10-ish? No, probably.
Wow, we hit double digits?
We did.
Wow. Go us, man. 3 years, double digits, finally.
So if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. But before, you know that to my right is Daniel.
Yes, it's
in studio,
Daniel.
Right?
Ha.
And then to the left,
tis I,
the douche,
the muse,
the king.
Well, now he's the king
of craptacular.
Okay, at least he's got it right. Roland, yeah.
Shut your face.
You know you
that
can see,
one.
Yeah, no, that guy.
Don't you stop that beer. Behave yourself. In my house.
Right.
Don't do it.
Okay. So
wait, who are you?
Well, they already know who I am.
It's not important.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know who you are. Maybe it's a test.
Oh, my name is Ray.
And you failed.
Oh. Are you now?
I ain't grayish.
I mean, yeah. Oh no, COVID Delta variant!
You got the Lambda Sigma Ligma variant or some shit, whatever the fuck it's called.
All right, enough COVID references so far.
It's a Lambda variant.
Oh, excuse me.
Lambda. Actually,
the Delta Phi Kappa.
Try lambs.
Beta, go fuck yourself.
My name is, we should do that too.
My name is Booger.
Roland's worm, I assume. Oh, sure. Can I be that weird archaeologist or geologist chick? No. That'd be kind of fun. From part 3, I think.
Part 3?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Is that when Booger gets married? No, that's part 4, I think.
Jesus Christ.
Anyways.
Oh, shit. Yeah, Booger in Love. Is that 5?
Dude, I don't know.
Because Nerds in Paradise was 2.
Yeah.
And then Next Gen was 3. And then Booger in Love was 4.
I didn't see that one.
Right. That was like a TV movie, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense now.
There was no Bush in that one. But anyways, back to time travel films. Timecop. We're going to give a little bit of a... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, just real quick. When it comes to time travel, though, I think something kind of fun to maybe trace through this series is how these filmmakers or writers conceptualize time travel, how it works. You know, can you go back in the past and kill someone's granddad and then they don't exist, or do they follow the more like hard, like modern physics understanding of goddamn space time or time-like space curves or whatever the fuck, where it's weird because it's like basically they've gotten rid of the grandfather paradox.
So your overthinking it is more interesting than the actual plot of what they go with, because that was one of the issues I think that people bitched about as far as this movie goes, is in that like it doesn't make any fucking sense. I think they say that like one of the reasons that it's like it's never really explained in the movie. They just say like, okay, look, we can't go to the future because the future hasn't happened yet.
Oh yeah.
Yet in the beginning of the fucking movie, like before the TEC is actually started, you know, what Jean-Claude's fucking character runs into those assholes in the future in the mall, and they fucking take out his wife.
Well, they're from the future though.
Right.
Yeah.
They're still traveling to the past.
Right. But see,
but then they go back to their present. So they're not.
So the people from the future can go to the past, but the people in the past can't go to the future. Like it doesn't. It tracks very, very oddly.
Yes. So basically, what we're trying to do with these films is that we're trying to like figure out how the storyline represents time travel, how the narrative is, well, like how time travel affects the characters in this movie, and maybe try to like explain it in some way. So we'll see how that goes.
I do like how the fucking first clip starts with that fucking the fucking corn tanger or whatever the hell going back and like stealing gold from the Confederate soldiers.
1863. We want to make sure that we mention the time that they actually are traveling back to.
Yeah. So
like, this is 1863 in Gainesville, Georgia.
But yes, I do agree that there is a inconsistency with Timecop. I mean, one of many, but yeah.
So it's like the people in the future can fuck with us, but the people in the past cannot fuck with the future. They can only fuck with the past to fuck with the future.
Yes.
To fuck with the future up to their current present.
Up to their current timeline. Which is weird. Yeah, because you think that like, because one thing I
can see how it tracks, but it's like a baby logic kind of thing.
Yeah, but both times I watched this movie recently, I was like, well, shouldn't these the TEC agents just stay in the past? Yeah, like
right. Yeah, like they could just make a fucking like a company.
Because I think technically, if the future is rewritten, then that's like not certain, so they don't even know what they're landing in or whatever. I don't know.
Basically, this is like
time travel's so fun, but
Dollar General Minority Report kind of stuff. Bargain bin Minority Report.
So basically,
with more action
in this film.
With high kicks.
There you go.
Jean-Claude Van Damme works for the Time Enforcement Commission, and that is it's like a police force in the technically in the future, 2004.
Yeah.
in 2004. And basically they go back in time to pretty much catch criminals.
Yeah. So like
they're trying to change the timeline.
Which is funny because, and here's another fucking like sort of inconsistency within this thing. Like more often than not, it seems that like all the people that go back in time are either like ex-TEC members or like they're sort of like tangentially related to because like the fucking timey-wimey bullshit is invented by one guy. Mm-hmm. And like they take his tech and like that becomes a TEC. Unbeknownst to them, they leave, which is real fucking stupid too. It's like, okay, good. Look, I see this for the sense of like plot force. But like his prototype that the inventor made was left in somewhere. Exactly. Yeah. Was left in a warehouse or wherever the fuck somewhere else. And I was like, really, guys? Like you missed that one little detail. It's not important. Okay, sure.
Well, it's funny by that point, like whenever they're trying to get money from like the government or the senators and stuff.
Yeah.
Like someone had already hijacked that, and that's when they referenced where the movie started off.
Yeah, so I referenced the Confederacy thing, which I thought was really cool, and I wish they'd done more of that. But they fucking like they wrap up that loose end off screen. Like they just say like some Germans or some shit went back over there and we caught them and like that was it.
Well,
and I was like,
it was
how?
No, it was an arms deal that was going down.
Okay,
and the funds that were used to try to purchase
Right,
these
were paid in
guns were
gold,
from
a
gold
bullion.
bullion, from the Confederacy.
Bullion. Yes, and then that's how they caught them, and that was it. Like you never see that.
And they knew they were legit because they carbon dated them and stuff like that. Yeah.
Like,
Again,
Jesus
just
Christ. Yeah,
just brushed
that's
over.
not a thing, is it? Not. I mean, that does for gold for metals. I don't really.
No.
I don't know how.
It's just a nice word to use.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it was just,
like-
that, God damn it. Yeah, because I didn't even think about it until now. So now I'm really disappointed with this movie because they just threw out like a.
Because the science doesn't work. Surprise. No. So.
Because how much carbon's in gold? Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Fucking none. So how could they carbon date something that doesn't have carbon? Yeah.
I'm going to assume that the writers of this movie thought, well, let's just use that because that's kind of a term that's being thrown around that people would assume.
Oh,
if we say that, then they know that like they can like
I'm sure
date
this
something.
came up
back.
when they were
could
like,
have just made it up. They should have just made it. They're like, we metal dated it to this time. Or whatever the
Metal
fuck,
dated.
Like,
That doesn't sound good.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's still better.
And I'm
like,
sure this came up during like the
it's
the
bullshit.
writing process, and they're like, wait, and some nerd on the staff was like, but carbonating actually technically, sir, and they're like, it's a Van Damme movie. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly. we're here to watch him fucking kick high, and he does.
Yeah, because I mean, like the attention to detail. I mean, they could just brush over it. They say it one time. That's it. They got to say it one time in the beginning of the movie. They don't have to really explain themselves.
Anything that ever actually
Let's just move
explains
on.
how they do shit, it's like one sentence, and then let's go back to the drama.
Yeah, and then the Coldware technology that helped
that he
unlock
creates
time
the
travel.
Coldware was like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
And
fuck
actually,
does that mean?
What I want to know is, so when we finally get to see the Parker McComb Industries that made the microchip that helped launch time travel in this movie, why there were so many fucking canisters of gas
Oh, right.
all over the fucking place.
And all of the explosive red barrels everywhere and shit.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
and it's like, but if it's
it was obviously an oil refinery, where that's what they need to make the computer chips.
I mean, it made for some cool action scenes and
Crude
stuff.
oil.
But they need it to blow up later or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite part about the whole thing is that
we need all these tanks so that we can blow
Van
some
Damme's
shit up
hiding
later.
behind these gas barrels as people are blasting gas at him. Like, it was just like fucking. I was like, good place to hide there, JCVD, dumbass.
I did love all the guns in this thing because none of them look like dart guns or some shit. Like they're supposed to be futuristic or whatever, but for some reason
they
they
look
always
like paintball guns half the time
they
too.
put like these giant like mag flashlights on top of all of them. They're like one of them like they have like a pistol or some shit, and the flashlight on there is bigger than the gun itself. I was like, this is cool.
But before we jump into, we've already.
None of it makes any sense. But let's give it some structure.
Yeah, let's flesh out this tale a little bit.
Ray, you got some notes? You got anything that you can maybe?
Well, I mean, a lot of it's just like questions and comments regarding the movie itself.
So,
but regarding like the plot, like we said, Max Walker? Max Walker, sorry. Max Walker is Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he works for TEC, which is the Time Enforcement Commission.
Right.
Beginning of the movie, we see him and his wife, who's played by Mia Sara, Melissa. She
the best.
basically it was a moment for Jean-Claude Van Damme to have a sex scene, right?
Yeah.
And it
that
happened.
booty, man. God damn.
He has a very nice butt.
And we're not talking about Mia Sara. We're talking about JCVD's butt.
Her ass is secondary to this. Like he's just like, oh yeah, camera's on me.
I do like the fact that like
Flex the cheeks.
they pan the camera over to like these goons that are hanging around, just kind of watching them and stuff like that. And you're like, are those bad guys? Because they look like fucking bad guys.
Well,
like,
you got that one guy with his fucking like baseball boots or whatever the fuck he's wearing.
like they look like guys from fucking Cyborg.
Yeah, that's right.
And Janelle and I were talking about like, why does everyone like in the future, according to like these movies, because like we're talking about Demolition Man, how like it's like, oh, these have to be like straight out Demolition Man 2 as well. Like
they have the shitty haircuts and everything. Like, was that like a shaved head Jerry curl or some shit?
I don't know.
The weird like shin plating that they had
on those fucking
over their like
stupid
silly boots. Yeah.
Like, those are just punk rockers gone crazy, you know? Like,
and I think he was wearing like a leather bathrobe or some shit. I don't know what the fuck that
Like
was.
everyone's got some fucked up haircut. He's wearing like 8 layers of clothes.
Yeah.
And has like almost like 3 pairs of boots on
That's
at the same
supposed to be
time.
2004 because they're dressed like the shitty cyberpunk future of the 80s.
We're watching the movie today,
Like,
and I
wait.
looked over to Janelle. I was like,
I like what I'm seeing.
She was like,
but-
why does they always depict the future? I was like, you remember 2004 when everyone was dressing like that? Like,
They're from fucking Mad
You know, they
Max. or
pan over some
shit.
kids wearing jinkos and stuff.
You got, they just started with making the Heelys or whatever.
if they said that in
Kids are fucking
2020, though, as far as where the
skidding
future
around and
was,
shit.
they would have called the Jinko resurgence.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, they could have.
So we get
Missed
past.
opportunity.
Basically, what happens is that JCVD is gonna go into work
Yeah,
after
the
his
day
mad
of.
sex over as mad sex. You know.
Oh, and
Yeah,
at this
'cause
time,
he's
he's
on
not
call.
part of the TEC.
No, he's just
he's
a
just
cop.
like a beat cop or whatever.
Yeah,
at the
security
time.
or some shit. I don't remember what they say.
No, he was a police officer.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
so
I'm
I mean,
not sure if it was like where he worked exactly. But
no, yeah, because he does mention that he's gonna get a new job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is with that job, and he can't really talk about it too much. But we obviously gonna find out
yeah.
that he's just joining.
And then that's when.
Because there's a point where she's like, "Are you gonna have to travel much?" He's like,
Not the way you think.
Christ.
What do you mean, Jean Claude? So, Roland, what happens in this particular after he's gonna go into work and
So
stuff?
yeah, like what ends up happening is that he gets attacked by said a futuristic
Goonies,
fucking goonzos, and they knock his ass out, I guess, or knock him down. Like it's somehow the fight ends up taking him outside of his house.
Well, no, because he's leaving to work.
Right.
Yeah.
And they
sort of jump
spring a
him right
trap.
when he's
Yeah.
outside, and then they go in and attack his wife, and you just see her there, you know, like they walk her up to the window of the second floor. They got a nice house. I like that house. It's kind of like I don't know.
But with how she screamed though, you thought they were like cutting into her or like
I thought they
fucking
were
her,
like,
you
I thought they
know?
were like
She's just there in the
poking
window
her
the whole
in the
time,
butt
just like
or something.
"No,
Yeah.
Max,
I was like, oh no, why am I seeing this? This is and then boof, like you know the house.
Well, mind you,
explodes.
they do show a silhouette of a person
yes,
like there, and who's
Yeah,
that mysterious person there?
Yeah, there's just somebody standing there with her like screaming and flailing at the window.
Yeah.
And as John Claude's, what's his name again? As
Max.
Well, Max gets fucking
As
shot
Max-
too. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
but
has
he's
his shot, yeah.
but he's got a fucking bulletproof
vest
vest.
on,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, but the thing is,
And they
Janelle
execute
did bring
his
up a
ass,
nice little technical
which
point
would've
though.
been
She's
cool.
like, I don't think those vests are supposed to work at point blank.
No, they're not.
And I was like, but
And
he's got
also-
super cop like fucking
And
vest
also,
on.
like
it's
they
fine.
stop more than one bullet. Like that's not like if it would have stopped one at best,
Yeah.
and the second one would have probably torn through that shit because that's just how those things work. The Kevlar vests are after they take one shot, they're compromised. to
But I
shit.
actually
Like,
love the line
that
from the goon though, where he was like,
the whole thing.
yeah, basically. The
He's
only
like-
thing that would probably protect them is the fact that they also tend to have like a steel plate in there somewhere, kind of thing.
it's like you're a smart man, sleep on it, and then blast him in the fucking chest. Center of mass, not a bad place to pop somebody, but
No, it's
they were,
not.
but they
I
were
mean,
like point blank, so not like head.
So like, here's the thing. Like even saying that if this were real, like his vest were to stop those bullets, he'd probably die from internal damage, kind of thing. Like it would probably rupture his heart, crack some ribs, all that kind
Not
of.
John
not
Claude.
yeah.
No,
the muscles from
obviously-
Brussels protect
right,
him.
Excuse me. He would he would do a split kick or whatever, and then stand up and be healed. Right? Like it'd be,
Well, no,
like,
those muscles, like
His leg muscles
he's got like one
He
layer
didn't
of
need a vest.
protection.
He just did it for show.
He had one layer of protection with the vest, and then like 8 layers of muscle on top of that. So,
okay.
like, it wouldn't have penetrated regardless, right?
Point taken.
If it would have gone through the vest, the muscles would have like bounced off the bullet. Like that's basically what would have happened.
Actually, yeah. Then they could have a cool little graphic
Could've
showing
just-
like the bullet passing through the fucking vest, hitting his muscles, and then bouncing
like,
back and
bouncing
hitting the goons. And then he gets up to save the day.
he just like flexes a titty or whatever. I just so he wouldn't have had to shoot
No
the guy.
one will mess with my wife.
It would have been even better. Like he wouldn't have shot the fucking guy up on the second floor or whatever. He would have just like pointed the gun at himself and like bounced it, rigged it or some shit.
Au revoir. I was waiting for so many there were so many moments for like great 80s, 90s era action movie puns to happen where, don't mind, I hope you don't mind I dropped in as he jumps from the ceiling down on a guy or whatever,
Yeah.
Not much.
So he
But
did have the
that must have hurt.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, man. Like, have something punny.
later on he does have the obligatory 80s action mullet going on throughout the whole movie, which is like
That's how you know it's in the future.
Yeah.
good point. And he is still
Everyone was
this,
rocking that 2004, dude. Like,
he's,
Yeah,
to
we're
this
watching it,
day,
Jill's like, why does he have a fucking mullet?
because have you not seen any of his other movies?
No, he had just come off of like
He's the only one that could pull this shit off.
he was growing it out because he was going to be in
He's
Hard
getting ready
Target.
for- getting ready for Hard Target, yeah. He's getting ready for fucking Hard Target. Yes.
And then what? Or maybe it was a long play for what was it? That fucking movie with dragons he was in.
With dragons?
He was in a
Was
movie
it
with dragons.
Lionheart or something shit like that?
Oh,
there's no dragons in
No.
Oh,
He is the dragon.
He is the dragon.
No, hold on.
I don't recall him being
What
in
the
a dragon
shit?
movie.
He was in the third Kung Fu Panda? Nuts. Maybe you're thinking of The Quest.
No, that was like fucking Bloodsport Part 2, man. Like,
So, so what ends up, happening is that the house explodes. I almost said Luke Devereaux.
Oh, just real quick though, you did just not mention one of the most important links to our last series or a couple series back,
Was that?
but he played himself in Last Action Hero,
Oh, right.
our villains series
Yeah. Did
he was very brief. Like he came in like when they were
at the movie
at
premiere.
the movie premiere.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I was thinking that was Schwarzenegger, like because he meets himself in the theater.
No, but he
playing.
as he's there, like he's like
also
at
there.
the theater as well.
Fuck, I don't remember that. Okay,
But
cool.
the one thing I did find weird and probably like a 1994 characteristic of certain movies was after the house explodes and he's there staring, they fade out.
Yeah.
Fade back in.
And it was like, was this made for TV? That was my fucking thought. It's like, God damn it.
I was like, why did they fade in? Fade out? Why didn't they just cut to the fucking next scene? Like,
because that was probably the end of the original like short.
it was never supposed to be a movie.
It's the pilot,
Just
teaser.
a high budget short.
So from there, they jump into October 30th, 1929. There's a guy who has two newspapers, one from 2004, USA Today, and a newspaper from that time.
Yeah, and that was Atwood.
Yeah, and he's comparing stocks, and he's like buying up stocks, and basically he's
Middle
just,
States Oil. I'm not sure what that
do?
company is,
Like,
but I
yeah.
assume
Like
that,
he sits down in his office. Like he turns
1929 was the
stock market crash. Yeah,
right?
so
He-
Yeah, because it was like when he's walking up to the office, there's a guy that's already killed himself.
Yeah.
And then he's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's fine, and just fucking walks in.
but I think somewhere maybe it was like the Wikipedia coverage of this, but because they don't really talk about this in the movie, but evidently he was trying to profit off of the stock market crash.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He sits down with like a newspaper from current day, and then like sorts of starts to like cross it over to whatever the fuck he's looking at there to buy some stocks and shit.
And one thing that I love about fucking movies in the 80s and 90s is how they envision tech from the future is going to be.
Oh, you mean with his fucking Walkman?
With his
or
like little
whatever?
Walkman thing,
he pulls
where
out,
it's
it's
still
like
like,
this
a cassette
weird
thing.
it's
But
like
it
a
was
fucking,
See,
like-
I was thinking, I was like, that's a cross between like an 8-track and a mini disc player.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was like yay big, and he just took out a cartridge and
Yeah.
And I was like, what alternative shit band is this?
I was trying to remember what the fuck he was listening to. I was like, oh, this
It was
looks
like I think it was some like no name thing. I don't recall that. That song doesn't.
It was just really funny because like he's
Slip and Slide, Slip Inside was the fucking like hook for that fucking track. So I guess it was
So
something like
Appropriate.
like he was listening to like some kind of slow ass music or whatever the fuck on the
No, it was
radio,
like
and he
jam-
turns it off.
Yeah, he turns it off. Yeah,
And then like he busts out his little headphones and shit, and like and he puts
he's
in
like,
his-
now I'm gonna really find these fucking
Yeah.
stocks I want to buy
Right,
because I got
and-
music from my era.
right, and I have a pen. I'm gonna circle.
yeah, he's just
circle.
laughing to himself. Ha 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 ha! It's so easy.
Yeah.
I hope that band disbanded
Get the fuck
as
outta
soon,
here,
like
man.
very
Right
soon
after this movie.
because they were.
I don't know what it was. It was just noise. I was.
there was one question brought up to me. Bryce, a former contributor or past contributor of Cinekuest video.
Occasional.
On and off again.
Off and on again. You know, when he feels like it.
He was asking me, he goes, how do those folks like assimilate into that?
That's what I was wondering. Like,
time,
so,
you know?
like, how long was fucking Atwood in the past to like get in a position on like Wall Street and stuff?
Right.
But then I was thinking about it today, and I think that it directly involves just the knowledge of what happened. Mm-hmm. So he shows up maybe like 27, 28, and just goes into some office like, hey, Mr. Sir, I'm ready for a job, you know, and then like makes all these like great calls because he knows how it's going to play out, and then he starts fucking with the timeline. So he just fast tracks himself based on that knowledge of what happened, and like,
probably. So
well, I mean, even with that guy in the beginning when he was stealing the Confederate booyah, whatever, like he went in like with the kind of getup of the time, you know. Yeah. And that other guy was like wearing kind of like the suit of the time.
Yeah, same thing.
And
which is why like I always wonder about that with the TEC because like they never, you know, dressed the part of the period that they brought into. Okay, cool.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Because if you don't want to fuck with the future, fuck with the past,
they don't. Like they just jump in that moment. Do the fucking smash grab,
and that's exactly.
Well,
yeah, but they don't have like a neuralizer like the Men in Black, you know, to fucking
So I think again that just fucking lends more to like the fucking plot hole bullshit or whatever. Like, and I can only assume with the TC, it's more of like a fucking like
damage control thing, maybe.
Right. So they don't care about the little details. They just go in and try to take the source of the fucking, you know, shitstorm out of there, and then that's it,
but like I said, Bryce brought up the fact, he's like, why do they need to wear those futuristic cop uniforms if they're gonna go in and like
it's a uniform, baby,
fix the timeline, basically.
Right. Because I mean, if they're gonna pop in wearing their cop uniform, like for instance,
and they're also using modern weaponry.
The guys that he kicked their ass, he didn't kill them. So
because they're gonna remember, baby. They don't give a shit.
I was thinking that secretary that tried to pop in, and she's Atwood there with like this futuristic, you know, man killer weapon. Yeah. And then she goes and like, here's this concept, like, here's how this gun kind of operated.
This chick is crazy.
Reverse engineer.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's gonna. The secretary is gonna reverse engineer a fucking.
No, she's gonna be the idea lady for that.
Well, okay,
and then make her millions off of that.
I mean, again, I think you're giving them more credit than would actually work because,
this
like,
is
as far
as I wanted to watch, I guess.
That fucking idea shit won't fly. Like, you can fucking make up whatever the hell you want. And, I mean, science fiction becomes science fact. So maybe, but probably
who
not.
knows?
We're thinking way too fucking much into
what I did find funny is that whenever he does like pull him out. And he's trying to like, because it was his old partner.
Right, yeah. Right? So
Atwood was also a TEC agent.
Right, he goes in there and he's like, what's up? You know, and the guy shits himself.
Hey, partner. Ex-partner. No.
Yeah. Has a little shindig shit out with
his goons, right? His office
like
goons.
his then time dudes.
Yeah.
And the guy comes out, like, I went, you know, X amount of rounds with some boxer, and fucking Van says, I watched Tyson beat some guy on TV.
Yeah. And he just like beats the fuck out of them both.
And the guy's like, TV, just fucking takes him out, you know.
Yep.
But what I did find funny, and I don't remember how Demolition Man works necessarily. But there was like a speedy process in the future with like the trial. Like he brought him back and then they just went right into the trial like immediately. Was that happened in Demolition Man? Or what?
It was a very quick trial. No, it wasn't Demolition Man. Or no, sorry.
It was a futuristic movie where the time. Oh, it was also Back to the Future.
Sounds like Judge Dredd.
You remember?
It was Judge Dredd. Yeah,
but it also
was where they had like the like, you know, super like rapid.
But it happens in Back to the Future too. Like whenever they get like those. Was it the nephew of Biff or whatever? Or
shit!
And like they arrest him. Like their trial goes like fucking fast too. Yeah. So is there like something in the future that requires like speedy trials? Like they just fucking go from one end to the next.
Well, I wonder. In the case of like,
isn't that in the Constitution, Ray? You're guaranteed a speedy trial.
Well, in the future, 2015, Back to the Future, 2004. This one, like the Constitution is amended so they can go
even faster.
Have a speedy trial.
What did he do? Death.
Well, I wonder
Send
if
him back.
the TEC court operated under some different parameters because it's like you're fucking with a timeline, and so there's probably like a whole other set of like
It's almost isn't like maybe
proceedings,
like a crime against humanity kind of thing.
Yeah,
So it's like,
kind of.
It's like
So
huge
maybe it's
offense,
like-
you know? Like,
yeah, because like you're trying to change like the way things were supposed to play out.
It kind of sounds like we're doing the work for them, trying to rationalize this bullshit. But yes.
And that's okay. That's part of our job as
it's,
Cinekuest video.
Yeah, we get paid for this. Roland.
Yeah.
in
Technically,
money.
we got a couple cents from Anchor.
You got beer.
Well, we pay to buy these beers. So I mean, our payment is beer.
Wait.
We're paying ourselves.
Paying ourselves.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait.
There it is.
I mean, you and I.
Hey, this time. This time.
That's the we. Yeah. Roland's technically being paid right now.
This time, yeah, I suppose this time I'm getting cash out.
Near.
Yeah.
So, what I did find curious was that they had to throw him back into the timeline he was in.
I
Yeah,
think
that was-
kill him.
I don't know
Like-
that had to. I just think that was like nice and convenient, like cool little thing.
Yeah,
that they
maybe
did.
like Max spoke up. He's like, well, you know, I
'Cause-
caught him falling out of the window. If we put him back in
Yeah.
the same timeline, it's going to do the job.
Right.
And,
But
Yeah, he'd
Max
just
didn't
be
even want him to
another-
die though. He was trying to help
well,
him
no,
too.
but after
Yeah.
sentencing, maybe he
Yeah, I
was just
guess,
like,
yeah.
well, you know,
No,
But
he
it's
couldn't, do,
funny-
he couldn't do anything. His hands were too
because of the folks on the bottom saw them falling,
hands.
and then they disappeared, and then
yeah.
saw him fall again. Like, and there was no question that fucking doorman is just like, what the fuck did he say?
no,
He's
it was the
like,
cop. He was like,
said,
Holy Mother of God, or whatever. He was a
and
total
then-
patty.
And then when
no,
they
no,
dropped
the doorman,
the
like,
doorman, the
yeah.
elevator guy.
Yeah, the elevator guy. Yeah.
Who, like, he was like, oh, you're going to run out of a job. And he was like, only going down.
Yeah. There you
Which
go,
I
yeah.
thought was a hilarious fucking line.
what did
Oh no, because like when he sees him crash, he's like, could have seen a brighter day. or
yeah,
something like that.
Oh, yeah.
he would have seen a better day tomorrow. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
tomorrow, poor lad.
Poor
tomorrow,
laddie.
It was like,
tomorrow would have been
tomorrow
a,
would have been
could have been a
better.
better
it's like a
day.
fucking graphic
day.
scene. Like the guy just crashes into the
Yeah.
fucking car, and he's just like, oh, shame. Kind of.
Tomorrow could have been brighter.
Oh man, so glad that wasn't my car.
So there's one thing that they keep bringing up, and it's obviously foreshadowing something that's going to happen later. Whenever they keep saying that same matter can't occupy the same space,
Yeah, obviously.
and they say that kind of
was
like
gonna be-
casually and briefly
Anytime-
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whenever
Words
the Senator McComb goes back to kind of change up that deal that he was making with that guy about the computer chip.
So what
Yeah.
ends up happening is that it isn't explained in the beginning. So when the TC is made, they meet with all those fucking like senators
sort
or
of
whatever,
senator-
and McComb
like-
is put in charge. But unbeknownst,
but he chooses to be in charge though.
Well, yes.
well, yeah,
But
he
because of-
volunteers, and they're like, yeah, you'll probably like it. He makes some stupid like shark joke or whatever. You get it along. He's got a bigger dorsal fin or some stupid shit like that.
So, like, I don't.
But unbeknownst to what you were actually, to the audience, to explain to what you were referring to, is that McComb himself had actually met with the guy who created the time travel technology prior to this.
Well, they were partners.
Right. He had a deal. He had deals with him or some shit or whatever the fuck. And he had actually been cut out of it at that point. And that's when
He decides to take
He got
over.
bought out.
future douche McComb comes back in time to make him change his mind.
But it's
or
not
whatever.
clear, too, whether McComb in the initial Senate hearing was under the effects of the past time travel
He wasn't
events.
up until that point. So this
Because
is
he kind of
you're
readily
thinking-
joined. But
You're
we're
thinking in
watching,
terms
like,
of the timey-wimey loop or whatever.
Yes.
You know, like this story was,
Well-
this is, you would be correct, but in the sense that we're watching, this is the first time it unfurls or whatever to that point.
Right.
So he has yet to go back to see himself until, we see this.
Yeah, but I mean, like whenever he
But yeah,
decides that he wants to
you're-
take over that
the
department,
you're
yeah,
pointing
Senate
out-
oversight
Yeah.
committee bullshit.
like he seems already like kind of in a state of
he seemed bored. Like it was because
Well,
like
yeah,
because like
but-
rewatching the film today, like McComb in that initial meeting was kind of like yeah, I'll do it. And so to
Well,
me that
I can only
implies that
assume- I
he
can
had
only
met
assume-
himself in the future and was acting on those instructions. But then there's other events that happen later in the movie that
Yeah.
imply that
I
maybe
don't know.
this didn't happen.
So again, like I would
really-
agree with you, but only in the sense that you're addressing the the issue of like the typical time paradox.
Yes.
The sort of like once you start this loop, it's always existed.
Yeah. Well, like because
and I am gonna like sort of dumb it down to the point where like no, this is again like the first time this it hasn't happened until we've seen it.
But after the trial, like that
but that is also another issue.
The guy
shit writing.
The guy who was his partner mentions he outs the senator. Right. So Jean-Claude already knows the guy, but the thing is, the senator knows that Jean-Claude knows, but does he know because he went back in time and killed his wife? Right. He already knows that he's the one that's going to do it.
Yeah.
No. I don't think he does. I think that's
because
I think that happens later, like to when he finds out that those guys are sent back to kill his wife. That's when he tries to like kill him in his own apartment. He sends his goons to do that because he already knows that he knows that. But again, that happens after he meets Atwood. The thing with all of this is that at this point, McComb has already been put in charge of the TEC kind of thing.
Well, he had been for like 10 years at that point.
Right. So like that's why it already makes sense to me that Atwood would know McComb or whatever the fuck, like it had been sent back to him. What isn't explained is what the fuck happens to where Atwood is like no longer with the TEC or whatever the fuck. Like none of that's like he's just, oh, there's my ex-partner. Like, what do you mean? Like, okay, why didn't you guys wipe his brain or what the fuck happened to him?
Or
like,
why didn't you go try to look for him earlier?
Yeah, exactly. Like there isn't anything in there that's like explains what the fuck happened.
Unless it's a thing where
he becomes
Atwood just
McComb's
goes
goon.
Missing in action or just because of missing person because he's able to hit up that other facility and get sent back from Maryland rather than in DC via McComb's devices.
Right, which is more than likely what ends up happening.
Yeah, but
like it's
like
just,
there could have been a little bit more exposition in this movie, and I think it would have been like a lot tighter package, even with some of the the glaring inconsistencies. Just like try to explain them away in some way or whatever.
But I think the one thing they're trying to just avoid is doing that. Because that would require more work and
because
more
this is a
dialogue.
fucking action movie, baby. It don't matter.
Yeah, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. They don't. I wonder if the people writing this movie, knowing that Jean-Claude Van Damme's in it, or like whenever the production is actually going on, and they're trying to explain little nuances in like the time travel story.
Never mind.
The audience doesn't care. They want to see him do the splits.
Yeah, exactly.
Which we see
twice.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah. Like one wasn't enough the first time. The second time, half naked, stripped down in the kitchen, boom, just ripping those fucking splits out.
Muscular ass, like hitting that split across the countertop, mind you.
Man, he was just hovering over that thing, like just, damn, fuck you and your quads. God damn it.
50,000 volts, motherfucker.
So fucking dumb.
I was like, that was the stupidest, like a super stun gun. That was what they were going to try to take him out with. Like,
God damn it.
But then if you were so confident with that, why send the guy with knives?
Why didn't they just blow up his fucking apartment? Oh man, and I love that fight, dude. I was gonna make a joke about that shit.
Why did he have to be Asian?
Do you remember how they fucking did the? What? I mean,
why was the guy with the knife Asian?
No, like there were two guys with knives actually, but yes, the Asian guy was the better knife fighter, sort of. Like, what was he doing here? Here, hold this really quick. Like, this was Jean-Claude. Like, he
was like going. He was literally just going.
Yeah, exactly. Jean-Claude was like doing that shit, and the other guy, the Asian guy's like, down. And again. And then here comes the other guy.
Which goes right back to the whole like.
It's called sound design, Roland. You gotta hear. That's all you gotta hear.
It was the goofiest. And what the fuck was that Klingon bullshit? He was swinging around with fucking knives, dude. Were the mall ninjiest shit ever. No, those motherfuckers were Star Trek fans. That's what this was.
It was like, well, speaking of the Star blank franchises, going to Star Wars, like with the prequel trilogy, it was, the lightsaber combat was to, hit sword to sword versus like the old trilogy where it's like, I'm trying to hit you, motherfucker. And then it's like an actual defensive move rather than just like sexy ass Ewan McGregor fighting sexy ass Ray Park, and all they are is like hit little tip.
Yeah,
but there's actually no like kill strikes going on or kill attempts. It looks awesome, but
that's where you get like the cuts within the movie because like it goes from Van Damme to the other guy to Van Damme, the other guy, and Van Damme goes one up this way, one up that way.
It reminded me of Steven Seagal movies, like in his later day, where he's like, you know, like, and these guys are like going 8 million miles an hour, like 40,000 strikes per minute, and he's just like, duh.
Fist of fucking death.
That's how it felt with Van Damme's performance with that in that knife fight, man. Like
that shit, they didn't need it. Like they could just take that part out. Everything else would have been great.
But you still liked it though.
Not for the reasons that I should have.
See, I love all these moments where like it seems like Van Damme's kind of like Batman, like guns are for pussies. But then like later he's like, okay, I get the gun.
Christ, that was probably the funniest part of the whole movie to me because it was so fucking stupid. I wanted to love it, and then I'd forgotten about it. Actually, I completely forgot about that fucking knife shit.
But then, like the end of all that is we get the splits on the countertop. So that was like the.
That's right. It was the.
And we got to see that JCVD Banana.
It was the money shot. It was the money shot. It's what. It's what we all want.
You know, it's funny. Like
that's why I watched it twice.
Yeah.
For a second there, I thought they were pulling like making him look like a Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. You know, and kind of same hair.
Oh no.
He's drinking a lot because his wife is dead. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, he was watching those fucking home videos.
Yeah, and he's drinking a lot. Like, that's literally a Lethal Weapon scene. But then, like, these goons come in, and we seen Lethal Weapon 2, where they shoot up his fucking mobile home. Here they come in to... But it's Jean-Claude Van Damme, so he's got to kick their ass, like, hand-to-hand combat, you know?
Hell yeah, man.
So, I was just like, this is fucking Lethal Weapon scene right here. Like,
Wait. When did Lethal Weapon... The first one come out? Wasn't it like 90s?
It was in the 80s. It was in the 80s, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know when part 2 came out, but I'm telling you, he's there drinking his liquor, watching those home movies of his wife, crying it up, and he has the fucking mullet. That's Mel Gibson.
Roland jumped to it.
89. Like, damn. This is this movie came out in 94, right? So. Yeah, this movie came out in 1994. Damn. So that's a total rip of like fucking Lethal Weapon 2.
Tis an homage.
Lethal Weapon 1.
How dare you? A rip. Get the fuck out of here. Mel Gibson wishes he could have done those fucking splits.
This was actually supposed to be Lethal Weapon 4 at this point.
3.4.
Well, didn't they have a fourth one?
They did. That's the one with Jet Li and stuff.
It was like
Chris Rock. Yeah.
Oh God, what was his name?
Part 3 is when Joe Pesci gets introduced and stuff, you know. So, but yeah, so
it's like if grumpier old men tried to make the Lethal Weapon movie or some shit. That was Lethal Weapon 4. Like, guys, retire. Just fuck out of here.
So we have Jean-Claude Van Damme going back to his department where he's being inspected by Internal Affairs, right? It's an Internal Affairs girl.
Yeah. So that was another that was another weird
Atwood
thing.
was a dirty cop.
Right.
And
he was
Walker was his partner.
Yeah.
So
and
it's
like,
he's compromised.
And like you would expect any internal affairs or as Lethal Weapon would refer to them, infernal affairs. Right? I think I remember that joke.
Infernal affairs?
Didn't he? Isn't that what he called them? Because remember?
Oh, because Renee Russo she's the internal affairs girl.
Yeah. And he
guess like the beer wench today.
So
you bet.
I thought it was as any true, I would assume IA operative would have been like, this chick is a total bitch the whole time, you know, like out of nowhere she starts following him around, you know, and he like goes on a fucking mission. Yeah, sure, she'll tag along the timey-wimey, no problem.
So the funniest scene though was when they first get introduced to this IA chick and Walker storms into his boss's office and he like pushes the door in her face.
Yeah, so like
she's like, no.
She keeps trying to walk into the office, and like he Walker closes the door on her like 3 times. On the 4th time, he just like raises his hand or some shit, and she's just like, you know, like finally figures it out. Like, get the fuck out of here, you stubborn bitch. So like she ends up like going back in time with him, which I thought was strange. I was like,
well, she's investigating, man.
She's investigating his conduct
in the field.
Yeah,
but
which she had never.
Is she an agent of the TEC though? Like as they
she's
have their
IA, yeah. She's IA for TEC.
Okay, that's
but she's never done a proper jump.
No, yeah, she shits herself, and like the whole time Walker is just making fun of her, like, oh yeah, they said you look like these other people, right? Like, and she's like, well, what happened to him? Like, you see those 2 red stains on the wall? She's like, ha 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 ha.
Well, I thought it was pretty funny whenever that guy who's like monitoring like their vitals before they go in
I was gonna go into that. Yeah.
And like her vitals are like going like
Ricky.
crazy.
Scott
and
Bellis.
they look at his vitals and they're just fucking like all chill and stuff.
Yeah, he's there like chewing gum and shit.
Like
It's like you have to shake him to see if he's awake or whatever.
Yeah, like, what did
and then
they
of course,
say?
Matuzik is like, oh, he's awake. It was like, that was unnecessary. Like, it was.
It was just funny. Like,
you not in this conversation?
They were
Like-
making so much fun of her. What did they say? Like, if she farts, she'll shoot ahead of the jet or whatever the fuck of the ship. You know, like she was just.
Another question I wanted to bring up is that their means of travel.
Okay,
they have to get into this pod.
Oh yeah,
and then they travel,
gone.
and then it's gone.
They just
that disappears. But then somehow they're able to retrieve this pod
on the way
and
back,
then,
right?
But they're sitting there going like,
the pod shows up on its own.
Rip the lapel back, hit special buttons, and then recall, and then somehow you're back in the pod. Yeah, that made no fucking sense.
Yeah,
it's just like rewinding a tape. For anyone that might know, these things that they used to make called cassette tapes. Yeah, and you'd hit this button and they would turn back.
But
maybe?
like I didn't understand that. Like,
you're not meant to.
Where does the pod go? How does it come back? Is it staying within the
temporal field or whatever?
It's like a rubber band, right?
What is it fucking like? Bill and Ted. What are those little like things? What do they call the lines of time or some shit like that?
Fuck.
But does it hang out there? But then
that's what I'm saying. Like, is it just chilling there until like they decide to come back?
But if they have to enter them to get onto the time stream or whatever, then get dumped out of them somehow, like it just made for a cool scene to be dumped in the fucking lake there in front of the Capitol building.
Because I was thinking, exactly, and I was thinking, first thought I thought of was Stargate. Right? They walk through the fucking Stargate and they jump into the next, wherever they're at. But they don't need a fucking pod to get into there, I mean, even like I said, Bill and Ted, they get into the phone booth. The phone booth is still with them when they travel to the next time.
And technically in Bill and Ted, people, well, not technically, actually, people can just like hang on to the little like
the booth travel
travels and not get fucking ripped apart by.
So I'm curious, like if someone is outside the pod, do they get ripped up?
But technically, these guys would have to be outside the pod at some point.
Right, that's a comedy.
Yeah,
what's wrong with you? This is a serious action movie. All right.
Well, these are serious action questions that I'm trying to bring up here. Like, where does the pod go? Where the fuck is the pod?
It goes back.
Because, like, first of all, it goes forward. At some point within that time travel, it fucking turns itself around.
I think it's like one of those shitty roller coasters. It just goes forward, disappears, and then comes back. Whatever. They crank the winder.
Oh, thanks for answering that.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's what I'm here for. I'm
like a fishing line.
There you go. Thank you. Perfect. Glad we cleared that up.
The track. Mm-hmm. Does the track stay within the between?
No, Ray. It disappears.
The section of time.
It doesn't need the track once it passes 88 miles an hour.
But how do you get back there?
It's gone.
Yeah, they don't need roads where they're going.
So I'm assuming that question's never going to get answered.
Until we rewrite Timecop and fix some of these inconsistencies.
Maybe they're answered in Timecop 2. Do we know? Who knows? Do you know?
I don't know. I haven't seen Timecop 2, so I can't tell. Maybe
I won't. You know what? No, we will. But that's a shit fest. Is it a Criterion movie?
Man, I feel bad for Jason Scott Lee, man. Like,
oh my god,
he's got the shit into these deals with
he's
these
in there.
movies.
No,
man, he's the star of the fucking Timecop 2.
Oh Jesus Christ, that is.
He goes from Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, to fucking Jungle Book, to nothing, to Timecop 2. I feel bad for the guy, man. God.
Well, I mean, at least he's got work.
He's got work, yeah, sure. But I mean,
that's
like,
true.
Everyone's gonna see him as like low rent Bruce Lee or something. I go, I don't know, like
the Berlin decision.
Yeah, budget Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Oh wow! And it came out a year before modern Timecop in the series too. This was 2003, so you know, it could have
Almost a decade later.
happened. Yeah, it's bad.
So, what other points of this movie involve time? Of course, obviously, the whole movie involves time travel, but we find out that the internal affairs lady is betraying him.
Total bitch. I mean, like the whole time she's like,
Atwood did warn Walker early on that like half of the TEC was already owned by McComb.
Yeah.
What does she say? Like
she has
when
like,
she
she's
first
voting early
meets
or
him,
something like that.
when she's talking to him in the locker room, she's like, you know, what happened with Atwood? Why did he go dirty? Well, I mean, he was doing like what did Walker say? He's like he was doing these things or whatever, and
it's
and
because,
then she was like, well, maybe
he crossed you,
right? Yeah, maybe he crossed the line with you, or no, yeah. Walker says he crossed the line, and then she says, well, maybe he crossed you, because she questioned why he would turn around. So what happened is that Walker took the assignment to apprehend Atwood. And then she questioned that. She's like, why did you like go after your partner? And he's like, he crossed the line. And that's when she pulls in her classic.
You.
Yeah. I'm doing my investigation by being a total bitch now. And then like she goes in later.
It's IA though. Like
you're supposed to be.
I'm not sure if it's a real world thing, but every movie or TV show
they're always super shitty, right?
Internal affairs, they're all like fucking assholes.
But holy fuck, man! Like when they get to where they're going back in time, she asks him again, or like they're like, "Oh, it's this time." Like, "Oh,
tomorrow's my birthday.
Yeah,
I've been 16.
This is when I lose my virginity to some guy, and it was super disappointing."
I think that's how she fucking plays him, though. I think that was calculated.
Yeah, maybe.
Like she's letting down her guard. So like he can trust her. Yeah.
But I think that part of that came out with the wonderment of like, hey, I just traveled in time. Holy shit. But
I don't think he necessarily trusts her so much as just like, all right, look, we're gonna do a job.
See, I don't think he trusts her at all. But I mean, like at some point, he just has to
letting the guard down moments. As
even
you know,
right? Yeah. So like
he trust me. I'm just a person.
She asks him. I think like, what does she ask him? She's like, do you have any family? And he's like, no.
There was a. You sound like a woman I used to know.
Right.
She must have been a remarkable woman.
Yeah.
She was.
Yeah.
What happened to her?
She's dead.
She's dead.
Yeah. And then she says like, she says something shitty. I forgot what the fuck it was. It was, damn it. Oh, I can't remember. Like she like, I like this as far as her character goes. Like she doesn't change her fucking tone of voice. Nothing. She's like super peppy the whole time, and she's just like, oh, okay, kind of thing. Like whatever. Like she says something shitty.
We realize we kind of like she changes on a dime, you know, because like she is like with McComb,
right? And
she's willing to betray Max,
right?
And as soon as like McComb betrays her, she's just like, yeah, I'm like with you. Like,
yeah,
when she's fuck him, like right.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, you're so dead, bitch.
I go, but she was doing it because she was gonna get money, right? I mean, that was like the whole thing.
Yeah. Because McComb is going to be president for life or whatever. And,
she may have also just been one of those people that has like her alliances or wherever the fair weather is blowing or fair winds are blowing, rather.
Which means she can't be trusted.
Foul wind.
At all.
It's a fart cloud blowing through.
And I like how the whole plot of him trying to demonstrate how Fielding actually existed with her blood sample didn't have to happen at all, because he just went back in time and fixed the fucking timeline.
Couldn't he have just taken like a Polaroid or some dumb shit of her? Like this is proof that
this could be anybody.
Well, I mean, I think that whole checking for her blood thing was just so he could find out that his wife was pregnant. You know.
Yeah, because like, how do you alphabetize this? F and W. Why are they on the same shelf within like 3 vials of each other?
Melissa is pregnant. At some point or another, he's like, he goes back to see, like, she's in the hospital, right? Because she got shot.
Yep.
And she's dead because those goons came and killed her.
Goons. I'm just trying to find that one little.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, this was. It's annoying me. Like, I want to know what the hell she said. These people are too fucking like accepting of this timey-wimey bullshit.
Well, I mean, at some point or another, what are you gonna do if like?
I
Government's involved in
bullshit.
time travel.
I say aliens.
There's got. I mean,
There it is. You must have thought about going back and changing that. Oh, now she's serious. Yeah, there it is. Again,
I'm
where she
kind of
snaps,
pretty sure she knew.
She snaps right back into it.
She knew that his.
That his
if
wife.
she-
That his
She's
wife.
read his
who-
fucking
yeah,
file.
she knows that his wife's been
was
killed. Right?
dead. Yeah.
She's
that was-
investigating him. She's
that
already
is-
torn his
That's
past
the
apart
face
without
of a
looking for any point of corruption that may have
stone
occurred
cold
online.
bag.
But do you think that? I mean, she's aware of that McComb is the one that is responsible for killing his wife.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, she could probably do the math as far as any of that goes.
Well, if she's in
explaining-
cahoots with McComb, I mean,
she's gonna know that like he's like interfering or like what his
because if she's hanging around like him, like she knew she was gonna betray him already. So she's had to know like the story that like
So
all the events that have happened.
even
up
if she
until this
didn't know
point.
specifically, I'd assume
But
like
with
she
this
could
loose time travel logic of this movie, did that even happen yet? With the way they fucking try to play it,
If you want to go with your theory, yes.
like
Your looping theory, then
Yeah.
yes.
it's time travel, man.
If you don't, right? Yeah. Once you start the paradox, it's always there.
Well, go back to the Future, like when he goes back into 1955, like all that shit's happening again, and he sees it happening. So like that is in a loop, you know.
But evidently, this movie operates on a different time travel logic than.
Obviously, yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, but
'Cause, I mean-
it's just hard to figure out. Like, God, I love this
Right,
movie,
yeah.
but it's just so baffling when you actually start thinking about the movie.
If you're gonna watch this,
how
just
it plays out.
Drop
like,
the logic. Don't worry about
no.
that.
Yeah.
I refuse to. Never. Voice of reason. Reason shall prevail.
It's a good movie though.
So what happens after he gets betrayed? She gets shot,
Right.
And then of course she's in the hospital.
Right.
He tries to prove
he
that
goes back. So
Yeah.
I like this. When I watched this as a kid, I wasn't sure. Like I was kind of a little confused because the dynamic between the chief and Walker is like it's like a running gag. Like it's just real fucking like low key, sarcastic as fuck for everything. So when he goes back to the future or back to the present, excuse me, nobody recognizes him, right? But they still are like, oh yeah, you're a time cop or whatever the fuck, because they pull him out of the pod.
Well, no, they recognize
recognize him, yeah.
It's
He's-
just the relationship between like Matusik, if I'm not fucking up his name.
Yeah.
Apparently, whatever happened during
Didn't
that
happen.
event,
No. Like he
he's just
doesn't
his
recognize
boss.
him.
No, he's just his boss.
Right, exactly.
they're not
But
like
they're not
the
like
friends.
they're not besties.
you know?
and shit.
And so that's when
So,
Max
like,
tells him like, "I've had your wife's goulash 1,000
Right, it's
or
too
100
salty.
times. Always too much salt."
And he just smiles or whatever. But like, I loved all of the scenes before that because he's like, a real friend wouldn't do this to me, would he? And like, you fucking John Claude just turns around and just smiles at him. Kind of
Was
thing.
I your only friend?
Yeah,
Which was
like
great.
I love that whole fucking like he's just so accepting, but like low key sarcastic as fuck about it. We're like, so we were buddies? Oh yeah, long time. You really like me, like. And when I first watched this when I was a kid, I thought he was fucking like being a sarcastic bitch about the whole thing. Like he was just they were friends and they knew each other kind of thing. I had to think about it a little after. I'm like, oh no, like. Because it wasn't really fucking like super obvious necessarily.
But maybe
he only interacts with two people when he goes back, and that's with the fucking pervo tech dude and Matuza or whatever the fuck kind of thing.
But perhaps the events of going back to 1994 and how it changed the future when it had greater implications where maybe Walker was not the badass time cop of renown that he was in the other timeline. Like things changed enough to where like McComb had more of an iron grip on the TEC,
Right, and so
used
he
it for
didn't let
his
him get hired.
ends.
He didn't let him get
Well,
hired.
not let him
or
get
some
hired,
shit.
but it is you're kind of like in a diminished capacity.
Right. Yeah, because like when he does go okay, so I guess there's only one thing that actually suggests that there's a very significant change to the future when he goes back, and that's when he looks at the name of the group.
Company,
It's not
yeah.
TEC. It says
Yeah.
like McComb
No. It's
Data Link or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
no, the data link is which helps
just
the time
says-
travel stuff happen, but because it used to be Parker Data Link,
Right. Yeah.
and then the
Now
original
it's
company was like Parker and McComb,
after
and
the
then
guy that
after
created it.
the
And then he gets fucking gassed, and like it becomes
McComb did a leak.
McComb takes all that, I guess.
So he's able to make the billions off of that to fund his presidential campaign,
right.
where he won ahead by 28 points.
So that was granted. He's the candidate and not the actual. He hasn't become president yet at this point, but he's still like a strong. It's a strongly in favor.
Actually, like, you know, now I've got stuff to finance like my shenanigans to become the president, and
he doesn't have to answer to anyone because he has all the money to do that.
That's where you make the fucking Trump jokes or whatever. Bring him in. This is all how this motherfucker wishes he looked. So aside from that, though, like there really aren't very many, I guess. Flags or whatever. There's things to see that show that like the future's been drastically altered, right? Aside from those things, I thought that
there weren't rocket boots.
It was a very low key, like sort of subtle, significant change that came about from what's his face getting killed.
Which I think that it makes a lot of sense. Like that was like a very practical.
I like that it wasn't
change.
like some fucking Back to the Future shit where Marty goes back and he's like, oh my God, what the fuck happened? It was just sort of like it was very subtly played, and it was like, oh shit, what's his face is still looking at VR porn, which was another funny fucking thing. That I didn't understand. What the fuck is it? Ricky.
You can call me Richard. You know, in the new timeline.
Yeah,
that was established by McComb.
Shut up, Ricky. And I don't know. I just thought it was really funny. Like, why did they throw that in there? Why did they throw in that VR bullshit? Like, you just cut to a scene
for more titties in the movie. For more running time.
They had to meet their titty quota. Maybe.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, we've got.
They went from 2 to 4.
This is the.
They doubled the titty. You know, like.
This is the Bush budget.
God damn it.
This is the Bush budget or whatever. We can't go above this.
The Bush budget.
we need at least 2 pairs of Bush in this. Or 1.5 pairs of Bush.
There was no Bush in this movie.
Yes, it was the VR Bush.
Well, that's not real. That's not real Bush, but we just needed to see primarily 4 titties and maybe some.
Ray, she was a person, okay.
Okay, she was a person.
And her one job.
Is this why you still shop at Hobby Lobby?
Michaels. Also, yeah, like that whole thing didn't make any sense. I was funny as fuck because
Roland,
Matthews, that goes up and he like rips the glasses off of Ricky and he's like, if I see you fucking with this again, I'm gonna snap your neck or whatever the fuck. Like he's just there like, what? You know, like. I'm just a lovable pervert, you know. My fly was up and everything.
And then Jean-Claude,
you know?
That's what I call safe sex. Yeah. You have to throw that in there.
There were some nice little like punny
shit
moments,
made
but I don't think there was
no
enough
sense.
that
It was so fucking funny.
Because
though.
I think there was more like campy pun sort of stuff going on that I would have not have thought so hard about some of the sci-fi elements of this and like how the time travel worked. A lot
of like inside jokes too, like how we mentioned before about Jean-Claude's fucking like crappy English, you know, between and him and his wife pointing that out. As in real life, like he didn't speak very good English. Later on, when McComb is like, you know, having his little.
Don't interrupt me when I'm talking to myself.
Right. That was another one was when he was making fun of Walker and saying like, you shouldn't even been a cop. Like you should have been like a dancer on Broadway.
Oh, with all those high kicks. You should have been employed on Broadway or whatever.
Which.
I guess I'm on Broadway because of the kicks.
Yeah, it's like, well, I guess I'll see you on Broadway, you know. But like, that was sort of another inside joke in that, like, Van Damme's training or whatever is like more of a action dancer, you know, than as a Bruce Lee icon or whatever.
You know, I felt that with the high threat of the matter can't occupy the same space. Like McComb is pretty.
He's dancing that line pretty fucking close,
pretty
just
close,
circling around. Because like, what if like
somebody could have just pushed him, you know, like,
or his former self had weak ankles or whatever that gave out on the cage. He just kind of like goes like, and then bumps into him, and then like
that's
into
it.
the movie.
It's over, yeah. And of course, there was.
what if he just like sneezed on him or something? Like, couldn't have been. That's still those are the atoms from his lungs occupying.
Who knows, like how that would have played out? You know, like
no, it's
if he would have gotten like some kind of sickness.
I mean,
again.
well, if we're just gonna talk about,
you know, he were like farted
breathing,
at him or some shit,
breathing
and
the
like
same air should have done
his
it.
ass atoms
That's
or whatever,
technically,
like occupied the same space as future McComb douche.
But even with Jean-Claude Van Damme, because I mean, if that was like a high threat, like they could have easily like
dude,
got
like
fucked up. As well.
you mean when they were in the mall?
He was way too close to himself in that mall scene.
It also didn't make any sense. Like he just walks right next to him and like stares at the wall for a few seconds, and he walks by and doesn't even notice.
Yeah.
The fact that there's this fucking like
I know that beautiful man.
No,
that's me.
I'm looking in the mirror. He's got better hair than
Roland,
me.
he's horny. Like you're not gonna notice anything else. Man. Like
Okay. All right. I'll give you that.
Do you remember horny?
I mean, I could if I tried. It's in there somewhere probably. Whatever.
So what happens basically at the end of this movie?
So, of course, as to the earlier foreshadowing of matter cannot occupy the same space, you know, like at some point, past McComb meets future McComb, and they.
But that's like some kind of ruse that Max plays on the
Max
younger
called
guy.
the fucking like Senate building or wherever the fuck those kids
so
work.
what
And leaves a message
they
like,
end up
"You
going
need to come
back
here. And
they end up going back to the same moment that Max's wife was murdered in, that same time, as it just so happens that when they go back in time to stop McComb, also happens
Wasn't
to be the
she
same.
technically assassinated though? Because it was politically motivated.
Well, I mean, sure, but
Just indirectly.
I just thought it was odd that the same time that they went back to stop McComb was the same time that his wife got murdered or whatever, and that like the same day that he gets hired to to go into the TEC. So he goes back to that same time, meets up with IA sister girl. She gets murdered, and then he goes back to his, he meets his wife at the mall, and then later on goes back to their house and calls in past McComb to go there, like posing as future McComb. But at this point, they'd met each other and they already knew not to fuck around and like just do what they're supposed to do.
The past
do as they're
McComb
told.
Had like instructions from future McComb to do this, and
right.
this.
And so
Which
he
is
was
why, so that's another glaring plot hole here. He already had the envelope of all this stuff that's supposed to happen, and follow this.
Yeah.
Some random message comes in.
But it's also from him, and he doesn't question it though, because
see, that's the thing. Like,
past McComb is a fucking stoolie.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because I mean, like, it seems that like whenever he meets himself the first time around, whenever we see it, like he's like basically seen like he's like a bitch. Or
yeah,
something.
He does. He's like, man, I remember.
Balls. Yeah. Or I ever have more balls and like. Do me a favor, lay off the fucking candy bars.
Yeah. As the motherfucker goes back to the future and is like eating like M&Ms or some shit out of a bowl.
I thought he was eating like pistachios or some shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like every time he's getting pissed at someone, like he still offers them like fucking
he's like slams his AIDS head into the fucking side of the limo. It's want some nuts?
Yeah, exactly. So. Past McComb ends up being in the same place in that fucking their house, as future McComb is threatening to kill future Walker's past wife.
I like it. It all makes sense. Good.
Yeah, no. This man. If you guys have never seen this movie,
Wife from the Past,
you should have stopped this way before and go watch Timecop.
Have fun.
Yeah, Cinekuest is just a podcast of spoilers. Like, I mean, if you don't want to watch it and you just want to hear us, then by all means, continue.
That's cool. But
we invite you to do so.
Yes.
This isn't one of those spoiler-free bullshits. Like, we're having fun, so if you want to
subscribe while you're watching, please.
Yeah,
Subscribe.
exactly. That too. Thumbs up. So. Knock over your beer, bitch. Yeah, keep your composure, Ray. Control yourself, Ray.
Okay, continue.
What are you doing? Stop.
Continue. Go.
That could have been a great graphic though. Knock the beer over, and then instead of suds, it comes up like a subscribe button.
When I learn how to do that, we'll make it happen. Right?
Well, yeah. When you learn to do that, nobody's gonna give you beer anymore. It's gonna be in a mug.
By the time I learn how to do that, we'll probably have 40 subscribers.
You'll be internet famous.
Yeah. You're shooting high there.
You're rolling in those
dream big.
Dollar dues.
Shooting for the moon, man. Like, come on.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what ends up happening is, like we said earlier, the stupid little foreshadowing garbaggio of matter cannot occupy the same space.
Which has been mentioned quite a few times
at
in
this
movie,
point. Yeah. Oh, has it?
In the movie?
Yeah, in the movie. Like, it's just a very
like
passing thing. They'll just say it. But like, this is the time that comes into play.
So this motherfucker, like, these guys have like a 3-story or is it a 2-story house?
Like a 3-story.
They're in the.
Because they have like an attic, so I guess technically it's 3 stories.
So
Yeah,
like,
3-story house, yeah.
so Walker, future McComb, and past wife are on the 2nd floor, and
Who becomes present wife?
And yeah, well, yes. Spoilers.
It's not convoluted
It's
at
got
all.
a nice ending, but anyways, past McComb, being his usual dipshit self, walks into this house that's been shot up full of bullets and like all fucked up with like I guess people knocked her out and like killed all, bodies all over the place or whatever the fuck. And he goes up the fucking stairs to the 2nd floor and
like,
walks.
Hey guys.
Yeah, exactly. He walks right fucking behind them, and Walker's just like, "Hey, cool, gotcha." Like, all right, bitch. Now what are you gonna do? And then he
Basically pushes
throws
him.
it-
He pushes him into
How
like the
about
other
that
guy.
mid 1990s CGI though?
Oh, man.
When the
They just-
fucking the
they just turn
McCombs
into this-
merged and turned into
this-
like a fucking.
it was this
fleshlights.
delicious flesh puddle, like.
It's funny because I remember the HBO making of Timecop and how they were talking about the CGI and stuff and how it was
And
like,
Van Damme's like, it's so advanced.
yeah. And like I remember seeing it, I was like, wow, that looks
Jesus
pretty good.
Christ.
But then I watched it the other day, I was like,
this is horrible.
this is the shittiest
This is
fucking shit.
absolute
Like,
shit.
I go again. Super Mario Brothers had
Yeah.
better CGI
Yeah, it
than
did.
this fucking movie. But I mean, most of the most of the
Oh, it
money
probably
went
had
to
a higher
JCVD,
budget.
So
Yeah, no, exactly. You gotta pay for those muscles from Brussels. That shit doesn't come cheap. He's got bills.
no,
He's got
fuck
bills
the
to pay.
muscles. That ass ain't cheap, man. Like,
That's right. It has to keeps on assing. That's right. How much did they spend on this?
Well, it doesn't help you only have the time bad in its wiki.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't help me. Fucking hell, where that shit? I could have sworn. I must have closed it. Hold up. Oh,
That's how
why.
you.
No, that's why it was.
There you
That
go.
was why it was there. Shut up! All right, I got this.
It was $27 million.
Damn.
So $20 million went to Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
$7 million for the rest of the
for the
movie.
CGI.
Pretty sure it was that low of an order for
Fleshlight,
JCVD because I think
blood
there's
puddle.
about like $50 spent on everything else.
But yeah,
well,
so
$1 million towards
Hey.
CGI.
well,
Hey,
I'm
Hey.
saying maybe $1 million for Ron Silver.
Whoa.
Like by this time he was a pretty big star.
That
I would
VR
imagine, like.
bush was tasteful. It could have been at least 150.
And I'm thinking,
Give him a little.
Mia
whoever the hell
Sarah
that was.
just came off of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, so she's maybe about like
$75.
$100.
God damn. Plus tax. Before taxes.
Well, no, before her taxes, she doesn't have to pay on that shit. So
I
she's
mean-
making like $53.
Because I mean, like that's the last movie I remember her in, and this is the last movie I remember her in.
It was the only movie I remember her in.
Ferris
She was in
Bueller.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Wow.
Yeah, she's the main girl in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
His
She's his
girlfriend.
boo.
His girlfriend.
I just remember this nice, tasteful side booba, and that's it.
Well,
And it's good. It's good.
She was a legend,
But
apparently.
yeah, so again, like I said, 27 million. CGI is kind of terrible.
Kind. I mean, they only use it in like maybe 2 instances. Whenever when he merges, and then when he does like the timey-wimey and like steps through, and they do that weird like
that little
distortion.
ripple, yeah.
They
keep saying
the
they
ripple.
keep talking about the ripple, and like that's basically how they travel. Like through like there's like a little ripple.
It's like if
Time,
you had
you know.
a 5-year-old.
Yeah,
explain-
ripples that result in other ripples.
Right.
I guess
but
that's
it's
fitting.
time. I think is what they fucking say. Something stupid like to that effect.
So I mean, so basically in this movie, of course, we get like the happy ending. Jean-Claude
He
goes
saves
back
his
in
wife.
time. His
yeah, he goes home, and
yeah, he
all of a
goes
sudden
home,
he's
yeah.
got a son.
he's got a son.
The
Yeah,
look of fucking like confusion and surprise on his face, like it's so funny. He's like, huh? This kid is like 12 or some shit coming out at him or whatever the fuck. Like,
Okay, so
well, by that point he would have been like 10,
all right,
but
whatever.
he looks a lot older though. Like
I guess
Yeah,
one of the last
probably
things
when
me
he
and
was, like,
Sarah
18.
did was the now defunct Birds of Prey show on the CW.
Oh wow,
She played Harley Quinn, evidently.
No shit. That
But-
sounds like it would have been more interesting. I never saw it, but
Oh, I heard
wow.
it was a trash pile, but I was just looking up like other stuff she did.
Most of the
and I was
CW
like,
stuff, man. It's like if Disney did DC or whatever.
So,
It's not good.
is there any way for us to kind of like in a very tight explanation explain how time travel works in this movie before we give our ratings? And probably
how
not.
time travel works in this movie.
So basically,
in this movie.
they travel through pods
Right.
that disappear, right?
Yeah.
The
but reappear
grandfather
when they come back.
The grandfather paradox is totally in play, where you can go back and because even Atwood, when he was talking to Max when he was getting arrested, he was like, "If I rat on my contact, he'll go back and kill my
his family.
grandparents,
Yeah.
and that's my family, my fucking cat." As he brought up, like,
Yeah, my fucking cat was the big one. Yeah. He seemed to have more passion about that cat, though.
yeah, he's like, "You're just talking about my family."
Like, oh, fuck
he was like
you.
flipping out about all this shit. He's like, "Oh wait,
I bet
a
he-
minute,
I
don't
bet
fucking
it's
like my kids. Fuck them."
Did he say you have kids?
No, my family.
He said family.
My wife. I think he said wife and kids at some
I
point.
saw him, and like once he was talking about his pets or whatever, I was like, "Oh, this is a cat dad. This is how he fucking describes himself. He probably has a MySpace profile or some shit." Like, no.
Wow, MySpace. Right.
Live journal.
in 2004. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
Actually, no. Actually, that would still been
it
relevant.
would. Anyways,
So basically, like,
he's full of
like
shit.
if he's going back in time, he can make money, in which like he's gonna be like a rich person and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's like, "Come on, Max. Silly ripples are going to be in my swimming pool."
But yeah, so basically the motive for most
My
like
family, like he's
the Time
divorced.
Enforcement Commission is basically there are people going back in time to get rich.
Sorry, I was just saying, like, the second Atwood goes back to the future or some shit, he just, like, immediately gets a divorce.
Yeah.
Disowns his fucking kids.
I would.
Kills
Yeah,
his
money,
cat. Like, he was old anyway. Euthanize him or some shit.
You're better off now, Ginger.
Right. I always like fucking birds.
Yeah. So like I said, so basically like the main reason there's a lot of people going back in time to like either get rich. I don't know like if there's
That's
necessarily
pretty much the
people
only reason.
going back in time
I
to
think
like
they make
necessarily
the-
change history, but
Don't they say that? Something like that? How they can't go back and kill Hitler or some kind of shit?
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
they bring up like
That's another like bullshit.
Yeah, so
fucking
it's like
thing. It's like, oh yeah, we
'cause
can
they're
go
like,
and change things, but not.
well, because they don't know the implications of
Right.
it. But then it's like,
that doesn't
but
necessarily.
you guys are doing all this other time travel fuckery,
Yeah.
where you're changing the future radically, even by stopping these like dudes going to the past trying to fuck with the timeline. You're still changing stuff to some extent, Like who knows? Maybe like '90s puffy coats would have been in fashion in the '30s after the.
instead of now. Again, aren't they?
I don't know.
Yeah. The puffy coats and shit. That's a thing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Bitch, I'll get us all some vests. What color do you like?
No
This-
sleeves though, please.
No, yeah, vest.
Okay. We're just
I
making
think I
sure.
know.
Blue, dark blue.
I'm thinking brown, tan.
No, I won't wear it.
anywho.
That's dangerous talk there, Roland.
I'll get 3 of them, and if you don't like yours, I'll just keep it. I'll re-gift it.
Yeah, regift it to Orly or something.
I mean, he probably needs firewood up where he lives.
Well, at some point.
Tinder.
At some point, he's got a yard.
Okay, so this movie basically just has a lot of plot holes in it, obviously,
Yeah,
right?
don't-
It's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. You can't expect any
mean-
sort of like actual explanation of
But
time
if
travel.
you want to go for that, make sure you
Wouldn't
got
it be
plenty of
great
alcohol, because that's when it makes.
If he was the
that's when it gets
scientist in this
fun.
movie, though, like not the star, but he's just like,
Jesus
here's
Christ.
how the time travel works.
with a big nose where he sniffs out crime.
through time. It smells like.
He sniffs out crime in the past,
Yeah.
and he comes back penetration, and goes back, sniffs out crime, then penetration.
You call it time crime because not only is it he's stopping crime, but he's also like fucking up the time clock by fucking bitches on the clock.
Interesting.
JCVD,
Well, give
let
us
us
some
know if
more-
you're interested in this project.
We just need to give it a little more thought. It's coming together slowly.
All right, so like we'll give a rating to these movies. Remember, it's just 1 through 5 as the normal Cinequest rating. Roland, we'll go first with you. What do you think of Timecop?
I'll give this a solid shit! I was trying to think of like a good thing to use.
That's my job.
Fuck off. I was gonna give it a 3 out of 5. I actually really love this movie. It's cool as fuck. I don't remember a lot of the puns and like this. Like I give it a lot more credit for like the smart ass dialogue because I really don't remember that. For the most part, I just remember the fucking splits, not the goddamn knife scene or whatever the hell. Just the badassness of a cool fucking action, really easy to fucking figure out action plot. So, yeah.
So 3 out of 5, right? Daniel, what about you?
That's tough. I mean, as we discussed this, I realized how many problems I have with some of the time travel stuff, and I love time travel bullshit.
Yeah,
so,
but there's
that
also
plays into
you're
it.
always gonna find like ways to fucking pick it apart because like a lot of the way most of these timey-wimey fucking movies are written, they don't make sense.
But
They can't make sense. They're written by idiots.
I really enjoy this movie. It's fucking hilarious. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. Muscles from Brussels.
Bitch. Damn it, I was about to say you got nothing. Fuck you.
Well, you inspired
I'll
me
give
'cause
it-
I saw your face turning there real quick, and I was like, "No, I gotta have something."
Surprised you didn't say it first, Roland.
I was thinking like 3 out of the 2 splits that happened in the movie. That's
3
what I
out
was
of
gonna
2
try.
splits.
Because it was only 2, right? Fuck off. It was there.
How does that math work out? I'm not
Shut up. We're talking about time travel. It's not important.
All right, so for my rating, 1 out of 5, I will give it a straight 3 out of 5. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking holes as far as time travel is concerned, but I'm not expecting much. It's a fucking JCVD movie.
How dare you?
Yeah.
I know, right?
Jesus Christ.
But like, hey, I got my splits. I got his like semi kind of
Silhouette of the bulge.
fancy kicking.
You saw that ass.
I saw a
flex.
bare ass, which
Yeah,
is pretty
that's right.
cool.
It was
I mean, Mia Sarah was in there, was nice too, but I mean,
it was.
I could take her or leave it with her, whatever.
No, like she really didn't need any.
I mean, that ass was like superb.
I don't know. Like,
superb ass.
The mullet was fun.
Yeah. She's still the only.
I
motherfucker
like
can
how
pull
that
off.
implicates that he's from the future. Is that like we see the short hair Van Damme,
Yeah,
and then we
long
see the
hair.
long hair Van Damme.
See,
And it's funny because like at the end of the
Edgy
movie,
mullet.
it seemed more like a wig than through the rest of the movie.
was it because of like how the neck mullet hair would like?
Well, no, it was
sort of,
because
like,
like even
flap
the
around?
hairline looked like it was just
Oh.
tight, like slightly off the fucking scalp,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 3 out of 5 for me. It's just a fun movie to watch. Don't try and rationalize any of the time travel stuff because why would you do that to yourself?
Unless you have a lot of alcohol and you're just
Yeah.
ironically.
Don't make my mistake.
Ironically, have fun.
Just another classic Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. So that's it for me. Like 3 out
And
of
this
5.
is regarded as one of his better movies.
This
in
ain't,
his
this ain't
career.
some fucking Criterion
Yeah.
movie kind of bullshit, all right? You're not gonna fucking watch this.
Yeah, and like we said, like this movie made out of 27 million budget, it made 101 million. So
Yeah.
probably one of his most successful and
Apparently-
probably one of his better movies at the time. I don't recall if he had done, like I said, Hard Target yet, and that's when he like paired with collaborated
that
with
was,
John Woo. So that was another
I
type
think
of
that
action
was
film.
like 94 or something.
Could have been the same year, man. I mean, Jean-Claude Van Damme at some
No.
point, I just remember he was coming out with movie after movie after
Yeah.
movie after
93.
movie.
It came out before this.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So there you go.
You know
like,
what? He kept the mullet. That's what it was.
He just cut it a
fucking
little
just-
bit.
He cut it for the earlier scenes.
He poofed it up.
So they
cut it?
They
He
shot
cut
the
it?
future scenes first, and then brought in young Van.
But like he blow dried the shit out of that hair. It had volume, like it was.
He was
nice.
just a conditioner for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. Yeah, almost
Like
certainly.
Tresemme,
Yeah.
maybe.
Thickness.
Not sponsored by Tresemme, by the way.
Maybe
Just
some,
brought it
maybe
scroll
some,
across the bottom.
maybe some VO5. I don't know. Like,
Not sponsored by VO5.
maybe Tres Flores. I don't know. Like, but yeah. So that'll be it for us. With Timecop, you guys.
But no matter what hair product, I'm sure it smells like fabuloso.
Oh.
Delicious.
Anything to add before we end this episode?
No, this movie's fucking dope, though.
Yeah, it's fun. Roland.
Watch it.
Yeah. That'll be it for us. Make sure you like and subscribe. All the links are down below for you want to buy some shirts. You want to buy shirts. You want to follow us on social medias and stuff like that. If you want to give us any money on Patreon, we also have that as well. We can give Roland a fidget spinner or some kind of fidget toy that he can have.
Like a few.
Yeah, well, those like multi-button things, little like
Yeah, so you can
wheels
sit there
on
and
it and
just fucking,
stuff.
like,
And
Like a Rubik's Cube fidget spinner? Is that a thing? That's a thing, right?
I don't know, but anything so you don't press
if we
any
get
buttons
you a
on your
Rubik's
keyboard.
Cube and tell you it is, would you believe it?
No. I'm not a. No.
Are you sure?
Support the fidget toy for Roland, all right?
Yeah.
I'll take a yo-yo.
Speaking of fidgets or fidgeting, the next movie we're going to talk about in this series is Time Bandits with a character named Fidget on there. So it's very apropos.
Yeah,
Stay tuned for the next episode,
Just
all right?
Smooth.
See you then, guys. Deuces, I guess.